The light is moving. No? Okay, now it's not.
I was doing it earlier.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're...
Hi, guys. Cheers.
Wait, let's start over.
Okay.
The lights are back.
All right, y'all been Episode 16. We are in February.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Hey guys, hello. Happy February. Oh my gosh.
February.
Where's this year going?
The month of the
Love. Oh, right.
And the month where the leap year babies only get their birthday every 4
Right. And it is a leap year.
Is it?
It is.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So here we go. We are starting a new book and a new spirit. So let's start with the spirit. Oh my gosh. You've had this spirit before.
I have, but I have not had the bottle and bond.
Yes. Okay.
Oregon Spirit, guys, you guys make a fantastic bourbon. My husband and I are fan favorites right now. And Kristen picked this up today.
Yeah. So I walked into a local, rather large liquor distributor, right? And I said, I need something from a small distillery. And this guy got so excited. He was like, let me take you to my favorite. And they happen to have a female head distiller.
Cool.
I love that. So, anyways, yes, Oregon Spirit.
Do you know the name of the female head?
Her name is Brandy. I believe it's pronounced Pieper.
Okay.
Right. And she oversees 11 other people. And they create what we are about to taste. We just opened it and we are about to taste it. So are you ready?
I wanted to taste it on
camera. Here we go. So cheers. Here we go. All right.
Whoa.
Isn't that beautiful? Get notes of vanilla. Now, guys, this is 100 proof, right? Because
it is 100
proof. It's what is called bottled in bond, which I had a little history lesson, which, I love my history. So bottle in bond was an act in 1897 to regulate the various the standards within American whiskeys. So any whiskey that is bottle in bond has to be aged a minimum of 4 years. It has to be bottled at 100 proof, and it has to come from a single distiller.
I'm sorry, I was just talking, and I'm digesting over here because there's just so much going on over here. I'm tasting, or I'm like, man, I'm getting. So typically with bourbons, you get a lot of like vanilla, maples, a lot of sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
This is not very.
It's not as sweet. No, and
however,
so hers completely neat. And I did mine with 1 ice cube, and as we prepped for this podcast, my ice cube melted. So I think my notes are maybe a little different.
Yeah, but there's a lot going on.
There's a lot, but it's beautiful, right?
It really is. It's like, so I get butter. That's typical vanilla maple is like it's on there, but as it goes down on the backside, you're really starting to get I really get the grains that are in there.
Mm-hmm. And I think Danny was helping us understand. They 4 main grains, right? Wheat, rye.
It's funny. I didn't
corn,
barley. I was about to say I got the grains that were in there.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It's light.
It really is. I'm
complex.
I was going butter. It's almost like a butter caramel toffee. Almost like I feel like a nougat in a way. Like you kind of feel it on the back end. There's a nougat flavor on the back side. I really like it because, like I said, most bourbons have a very sweetness up forward. And this one has a sweetness, but it's really all indulgent to the side.
It's not a dessert sweetness.
No.
It's just, it's an easy sip, right?
Oh,
we could have probably,
delicious.
like we asked them to pour us just a sip of this. And then in light of carnival season, we actually, Kevin made us Vieux Carres.
Vieux Carres.
Yes. Yeah.
What's a Vieux Carre?
He'll put it in the notes. Sorry.
I saw that fancy.
Yeah, right. Well, he wanted to feature various drinks that are known for coming out of New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans really, in America, New Orleans is the city that really celebrates Carnival season. It starts on 12th night with King's Day, and it goes all the way through to Fat Tuesday or Mardi Gras. So today, you know, we were looking, okay, what could we make with this incredible spirit? And he made us a Vieux Carre. So here we have a neat pour, right? And then here we have an actual Vieux Carre. So cheers and happy Carnival, y'all. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Citrus. Okay, Kev, definitely put the notes below for
this is fantastic.
Right?
All the flavors. Brandy, right? It was a master.
I think, her name. Yes. So Brandy Pieper is the head distiller.
Okay.
And
Brandy, you did a fantastic job. You really did.
so delicious.
So, you know, I can definitely feel the grains that are coming in here, and that toffee flavor I was talking about, even though we have
blends really well into the drink, right?
It really does. Kudos to you, girl. You boo.
And there's less than 200 head/master distillers in America. Less than 200.
Really?
Brandy's one of them. Right? Isn't that amazing?
That's good. Maybe you know what? I might have to switch professions because I think I made for that job, guys.
You pick up notes of bourbons, like, yeah.
Well, okay. And you guys haven't seen on camera much, but on camera as much. However, my husband and I are really big into bourbon and gin. Bourbon, my husband has a huge collection. And gin, we're just starting to grow. So for bourbons, we really, you know, we focus on neat pours, and we do tastings quite often. And this is fantastic. It really is. I mean,
it's beautiful.
I mean, there are some top, you know what, I'm going to be nice, so I'm not going to name them out, but there are some top shelf bottles that this outdoes.
Oh,
if you don't mind me asking, what did this run here?
Between 60 and 70, because it's the
it's bottle and bond,
correct? Which the standard to that is a whole nother level from the distillery.
Yeah.
So they did have offerings in the $40 range.
Okay.
But she was in the 60. Yeah, I think $50 to $60 range.
Well, yeah, hey, not bad. I mean, 50 to 60, and I've had bottles that are 100, 200, 300.
Right.
And I'm not going to say there is a such bottle that has a little horsey on the top,
that you want to collect the last of the bottle tops out
to get all
which
the letters
you'll need.
I'm not going to say it because I don't want to, defame. But I dare say this might be,
you're loving it. I love
better.
it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah.
Brandy, thank you.
And out of Oregon, right?
Well, Oregon's coming out with some fantastic wines too. That's the other thing, guys. I like wine. Maybe just a little too in gin, bourbon, wine. Okay. I like booze.
So what's great about the distillery here is they take a lot of careful attention. Like even the water is such an important piece. Right. And being someone who loves bourbon and living here in Florida, right? You've tasted some of the amazing spirits that have come out of Tennessee and Kentucky and that mountain water, right? And then in Oregon, we have the Cascadian Mountains. So that's the water that they filter for this, right? So, but here in Florida, the St. Augustine Distillery, we love and we support.
We have challenges. We do
with our water in Florida here.
We have a lot of lime that comes out of our water, which is why I do want to give a shout out to St. Augustine. You naturally have a challenge, which is the Floridian water, which is very high in lime. However, the spirits that are coming out of your distillery
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful balance. Wouldn't have known that it was coming
out of Florida. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So here we are in February.
Yeah.
We're in the heart of Carnival season, hence all the beads, y'all. Just letting you know. I love to celebrate everything in life, but Carnival season is, I don't know, there's something about the music and the food. Next week, gumbo's coming, my friend. Don't you worry.
Looking forward to her gumbo.
But we are starting a new book. And what an amazing book for anybody who wants to start a business or who has started a business and is sinking fast, right?
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because, so we the episode previous, we just wrapped up mindset, which is all about the growth and the fixed mindset, because really in order to be successful in any business, you really have to come into the right mindset, right? But that's any business. It's, a large, or I should say a very wide spectrum, broad spectrum as far as businesses go. And as far as E-Myth goes, it really tackles everything. And I love the fact that if you want to start a business, read E-Myth.
Yep.
Read it.
And if you are in a point where you're in a business and you're sinking fast and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but let's dive into why would you be sinking fast? But a lot of times as a business owner, you tend to start a business because the ideology of going into a business and the freedoms it's going to give you and everything that it's going to provide you, you're like, yeah, let me go ahead and start a business. However, once you're in the business, all of a sudden you're like, holy. You're like, I'm in the business, and it's not going the way I thought it was going to go. And there are things that I wish I could have gone and done differently.
Yep.
And then you read the book and you're like, well, crap.
Yep.
Those are the things
I should have done. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Michael, great book. Right?
Fantastic.
This book had me the first time, and then this is the third time reading it as we prepare for this podcast.
And did I recommend it to you? Or
you did.
Oh, I did.
You did.
I didn't know if you read it before.
No. And this was eye-opening. So having been part of different startups and different successful companies, and then also having friends and family members who have started businesses, and the ones that have failed, sometimes it's hard to pinpoint why did they fail.
Yeah.
But when you read this book, honestly, it is so crystal clear. Right? So, like Michael he is such a great author, and he just simplifies things in such a way that opens up your perspective. So in this book, one of the things he really digs into, and I love this, is really breaking down what he's going to cover in the book, and then why businesses fail, honestly.
Yeah.
He gets there and he calls it out, right?
Sometimes when you go in, you hear these stories about business, oh, they failed, oh, they did this, oh, they did that. And what's really definitive about this book is that you hear why a business fails. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, you hear the news story, right? Mm-hmm. NBC, ABC, whatever, all the stations, you hear why a business fails. Mm-hmm. But then when you go and you interview the employee or the head exec or someone to the side, and you hear the stories of what happened to them, and then you're like, oh, okay, this book kind of
it details it. Absolutely. Yeah. So Michael, he covers really 4 main areas. He talks about really what he calls the E-Myth, which is people who get into business, and not everybody gets into business because they want to be an entrepreneur, right? There's that's the first myth that he needs to debunk, right? People aren't like, I want to be an entrepreneur. No, they are good at something. They are passionate about something. They find a hole or they find an opportunity in their community.
So it's funny you say that. I'm sorry.
No,
it's funny you say that. So, with Saige and what we do, we have webinars or 13 week long webinars, and in one of the modules and one of the weeks that we do our webinar, we actually dive a little bit deeper into the business owner versus entrepreneur mindset, right? And so when you go and you start looking at what an entrepreneur is, and so, entrepreneur, if you break it down into Latin, well, a little bit further in Latin, but you got entre, which actually means enterprise, and you have preneur, which means adventurer. So you have an enterprise adventurer, right? That actually makes entrepreneur. And so when you start going down this rabbit hole, you're starting to see that sometimes it's just the adventurer who decided they wanted to make an enterprise. And and they don't go into the fact of saying, hey, I want to go ahead and be a business owner. No, they were an adventurer who was looking for their next adventure, which was an enterprise.
Yep, absolutely. And I think as we talk to so many of our clients, that is what happened. They were known for being amazing at something, right? They were known for being an amazing baker or construction or like home improvement. And they were told, wow, you're the best at this. And they thought, well, why should I work for somebody else when I can do this myself?
The adventurer,
right? Absolutely. So, and then he talks about this concept of a turnkey business. And we know when you buy a house, turnkey means it's ready to go, right?
Yeah.
So
no fixing up.
It's just ready. You move in, you turn the key, and you walk in, and it's ready to go.
I've never done that, by the way. I've had to fix every place that I've ever decided to.
You put your own stamp on it. That's amazing.
No, it is. It really is. But it would have been a lot better.
But when you start a business, so this is what Michael gets into, and he gets into it really the second and third chapters as he wraps up the book, that a turnkey business, like you can't just kind of throw darts and hope something works, right? You have to build a business with the intention of it being ready to grow. You have to start a business with it being turnkey, even though most people don't do that.
And they don't. And I do want to reiterate that a lot of people go into business. So we're not speaking to the serial entrepreneur here, right? The serial entrepreneur already knows that they want to create a business. The essence of business, they already have figured out that's exactly what they want to do, right? However, they go broad. Well, actually, I guess we are speaking to the serial entrepreneur because you go broad. You don't know exactly what category. You don't really exactly know what industry or what product you're going to sell or service you're going to offer. However, you go broad and you say, I just know I want to be in business, right?
They want to get away from their boss.
Yeah.
They want to get away from working for the man.
Yeah. So you just
get away from the corporate grind.
So maybe you do throw some darts here and there, right? And those darts, it's almost like what I want to say, research and development, R&D. Okay. You're just doing R&D right now. You're throwing your darts. That's not the darts she's talking about. Yeah. So I just want to reiterate that.
No, you're totally right. So what Michael really digs into is realizing that there are people who are great at things, who start businesses, but if they don't start them with a business and a future growth, a turnkey, right? Like when they open their doors, it's ready to grow and explode. That's the danger, because he acknowledges that after 5 years, so many businesses fail. And this is so scary, right?
Because that's not the first time we've heard this.
No, it's not. And there are so many people out there. You have such great ideas. You are so passionate and you're ready to do things, right? And that's the hard thing when we talk to our entrepreneurs, right? Their heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
They had a great idea. They have a service to provide to their community.
Yeah.
They have their why. We really talk about the why.
About the why. Everything starts with the why.
Right? They want to do better for their family. They want to do better for their community. They want to do better for something, right?
Yeah.
But their businesses still fail no matter how sincere and amazing of a people they are.
Yeah.
And that's hard. But when we really boil it down, they're not set up for turnkey.
And and I think a lot of it too comes into, so you have that urge, that want the ambition, right? We've talked about ambition to do your own thing. However, there's expectations that come along with that. And so when they don't meet your expectations, you fucking fail to the wayside. However, if you came in with the aspect of, okay, I want this, I want that, and you set yourself up for success. We talked about that in the last book, setting yourself up for success. If you set yourself up for success, then it becomes a turnkey operation. Okay. You set yourself for success that the moment you decide to go into business for yourself, you're just turning the key and you're entering your home and it's fully furnished and everything's updated and you don't have to buy any new appliances or lay down tile. Everything's
ready to go.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And what I love that Michael identifies that when we open a business, we are one of three people. And most of the time we are the first person. We are the technician, right? We work somewhere and we are amazing at what we do.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you work in retail, fashion. Maybe you work in hardware. Maybe you work in tech. And whatever it is you do for your corporate run BOSS, boss, right? You are the best at what you do. You understand your customer. You understand your technology. And you can execute and deliver flawlessly. You're the top in what you do. And you're hearing from your friends and family, why don't you open your own business? Like, you clearly have this, right?
But do you really?
And this is where I think Michael calls this the fatal. He uses the word fatal. And it truly is, because when we talk to some of our clients, this is where they're on a downward spiral, right?
It kind of reminds me of, it's funny because right over here, we just finished this book, right? And mindset, it was like giving you the accolades of, you can do it. You're the best. You're awesome. Telling you everything you want to hear. You've learned. Yeah, of course. If you just spent 20 years in retail, of course, you're probably a really good salesperson. You know how to push a product. You know how to model something in a window to drive people in.
Multitask, lead and inspire people, right?
Yeah, all those things. You know how to do all of these, but there's an entire other side of business, right, that comes into play that you don't know. And it's okay. And that's where we talk about this book here, is having the growth mindset. You're not supposed to know everything, but if you want to know it, you can learn it.
You can learn it, right? And this is what Michael calls that fatal assumption, right? That just because you've been really great at something as a technician, right? You are the best salesperson. You are the best whatever in your field.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you are the best person to lead. So there's a difference. You can have a business that, how does he say it? I have to do it the right way. I'm sorry. Here we go. You understand. So the fatal assumption is that you understand the technicality work that goes into doing a business, or you're a business that understands the technicality work.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can only do the work. They can't do the management piece of things.
But that doesn't mean they're limited to that.
No. They just have to learn it.
Yeah.
And this is what I love that Michael digs into. So on this journey in reading this book, we meet Sarah.
Oh, Sarah.
Sarah. Hi, Sarah, whoever you are, because your name has been changed to protect the innocent. And you have a business called All About Pies, which is not really the business. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, but that's okay. So Sarah has a business called All About Pies. And Sarah used to love to bake pies with her grandmother.
Yeah.
She loves that, right? And somebody told her she was amazing at baking pies. Her pies were the best. So she poured all of her life savings, everything into opening this state-of-the-art shop.
So pies, jewelry. Just a saying, I can completely relate.
This is my friend.
Yeah.
She was known for my friend Leilani here. She was known for creating incredible jewelry.
Great
right?
jewelry.
And then everyone will reach these parties and people be like, where did you get your piece? She's like, I made it. She was so humble. But
and then I made it, but then anyways, continue. We'll talk about my story later.
Right? So we meet Sarah in Michael's book here, right? Or Leilani on the journey. And Sarah loved baking pies with her grandmother. She had this, right, affinity to just all of that with And she loved making. But by the time that Michael was brought into the picture, she was working 14 to 16-hour days. She was getting up at 2 a.m. so that she could be to work by 3 a.m. She had to prep the dough, prep the filling, make the pies, have everything ready, clean. And she was kind of a one-man show because people like that she would hire in, and she didn't necessarily manage or lead them or prep them in the right way, would leave her stranded.
Yeah.
And so by the time in this book, again, names were changed to protect the innocent, and Michael was very clear with this. By the time Michael came to Sarah, she was at her wit's end. A woman who loved making pies, who had this, like, I used to make pies with my grandmother. She poured all of her money, her life savings in this beautiful state-of-the-art pie shop, beautiful floors, state-of-the-art ovens. She hated making pies. She hated the smell of pies, everything. And Michael comes in to help her understand the journey and what happened.
Sarah's journey is not,
she's not alone. How many of us?
Yeah, we really have. How many of us have gone through that, And that's why I said we'll touch upon my story about what it was and how I started my business. 2007, I got laid off, or 2008, I'm forgetting now. 2007 or 2008, I got laid off from a corporate job. I ended up finding myself, someone who was very independent, now having to rely on my husband's income. And, this is the height of the recession. So, his income went down, and here I am trying to say, okay, how can I make up our income or at least subsidize a little bit of it? And what ended up happening? I said, okay, well, we're going to a wedding. Let me go ahead and make my own jewelry, because hell, if I'm going to go and pay, all these dollars that they're asking for. And so I went and made my own jewelry, went to the wedding. And of course, people are, oh, hey, not of course. I was honored. Sorry. I was honored by people coming up and saying,
she's good at what she does.
And people are coming up to me and saying, hey, that's really pretty. And so I went ahead and I said, well, I can make it for you. And I sold it. And then little by little, it grew until I had a breakthrough in 2010 where someone approached me and said, hey, have you ever thought about selling on this particular internet site? And I said, no, if it's available, I will. And that's what ended up happening. I sold on the internet site and it blew up from there. However, that story you hear, it's like the lottery story. You win the lottery and everything's okay. There's another side to it. You go in with the idea that, yes, I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to claim my own hours. I'm going to be my own boss, and I'm going to be able to raise my family next to me while I do it all. Now that's how it really went, and that's why I think the book really touched me, is the fact that it doesn't go down exactly like that.
Like you want, right?
Yeah.
Like you have in your mind because you want to have control.
You do. And it's a false sense of control.
Sure.
Because you're really controlled by, one, the platform you're selling on, the customers you've had, and the timelines you have to deliver your product or service. And that really dictates your control. And at the end, I didn't have a lot of control, and I was a slave to my own job, which was my business.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where, honestly, we meet Sarah in this book, because Sarah is at her wit's end, right? She is working 16-hour days, 16-hour days. And he makes it very clear that he's changed the name, right? But so many of us can identify with this.
I completely do.
Right? You are told you're amazing at something. Why don't you open your own business?
Yeah, because everyone who has not opened a business is going to tell you to open a business. Any true business owner is going to be like, whoa, let's think this through.
Yeah.
Before you decide to go down that path.
Right. But because you're really great at something and people love what you give them and they feel like they're going to say, oh, you should open your own business. So we meet Sarah in his book, and she's at this point where She is working like 14 to 16 hours a day. She hates making her pies.
Been there.
She's she's poured everything she could into this. And she's suffering from what Michael calls the entrepreneur seizure. She has been great at doing something, but her business is struggling and now she's feeling it.
Yeah.
Because she didn't have things set up in place.
Yeah.
So what I love that Michael gets into, and this is what we'll get into deeper next week, but he really identifies that there are 3 people required to run a business.
It's so true. Yes.
And sometimes those 3 people need to be just you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He talks about someone who is the technician. And the majority of people who start a business are the technician.
Because it's what you know.
Yep. You are the best carpenter. You are the best seller. You are the best hairdresser. You are the best esthetician. You are the best at what you do where you are working for the boss, right? And everybody tells you
where you're directed to do something,
right? And everybody tells you, why don't you just do your own thing, because you're so frustrated with your boss because you have these ideas of how to make the business even better. So he realized there's the technician, and then there's the manager. And the manager is the person who really... So the technician kind of lives in, I wrote all this down and I really should get into this here, right? The manager really lives in the past, right? The manager sees things that have gone wrong in the past and they want to rectify it and plan and set the business up for success. But a lot of times there is this struggle between the person who just wants to make their pies or do the nails or do the hair or walk the dogs or build the deck, whatever it is that the technician is amazing at. The manager is making sure they have the tools they need and that it's organized and everything. But the manager's job can be a little boring, to be honest.
One, sometimes they have to step in.
But the technician won't let them sometimes, right?
That's true.
Right? So, and then we have the entrepreneur. And the entrepreneur is the side of us who sees the future of the business, who is the visionary. And this is what I love. Like, a lot of times we take our new clients through understanding who they are in that first module, right? Are you a visionary?
Oh, man. Guys.
And it's powerful.
Because, you know, Kristen took me through her module. She introduced me to her module, and I just was like, holy moly. And I'm someone who's, you know, been in business now, let's see, better part of 14 years now. And she took me through her module, and I was like, I never looked at things this way. And so I just, you know, you're touching on different points that are relative to your module. And I'm like, yes. This is that, and this is even before you read the book.
Before I read the book, right? Yeah. Because we're different. We wear different hats to run a business.
Yeah.
And if we don't identify those hats, and Michael understands this too, and this is why I think this is one of my favorite books that we've done so far, because he understands that we have to. Sometimes we're the technician. We have to make the product. Sometimes we need to be the entrepreneur. We have to figure out what our business can go towards. And sometimes we need to be the manager. And if we don't, our business will fail.
Yeah.
But we naturally fall into one of those categories as our safety place, right?
Yeah.
Most entrepreneurs fall into the technician.
Yeah.
There's very few who fall into the entrepreneur and into the manager, but it's good to identify those and realize, who are you? Who is your partner? And partner doesn't necessarily need to mean business partner. Your partner might be, if you're an independent business owner, it's just you running your own business, it might be your spouse, right? Yeah. Your spouse is your partner on the side, right?
Yeah.
So,
and they come in and they supplement you in other ways.
Yeah. Right. So understanding who you are and who they are helps you identify what you need. And this is why
I also think that acknowledging too, when you're flipping one hat, when you're taking off one hat and putting on the other, if you can acknowledge when that's happening, that's powerful.
It's very powerful
as well, because at that point in time, you can go and say, okay, I'm taking this hat off to put this one on. I don't really care for this hat. So I can look for someone else or your supplement.
Right. You know who you need to hire and or who you need to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as we dig into this book and Michael gets into how businesses succeed and why some fail, he really goes into setting your business up from the start to be almost its own enterprise, right? He quotes the success of I think he uses McDonald's.
Yeah, he likes to use McDonald's.
He does.
I mean, I like their French fries, but you can't knock it. They have a really good process sound. I mean, it's very few McDonald's, McDonald's or McDonald's.
McDonald's. Let's go with McDonald's.
Okay. Plural.
Hashtag having a Oh, mine's empty.
Oh. COVID's not a thing now, right? My God. So McDonald's failed, right? There's been very few that have failed. There have been some.
There have been few that have failed because they set their whole business up to be ready to scale. And I think that's what Michael gets into, is business owners who don't set their business up to be ready to scale will fail.
Yeah.
And when you understand that sometimes you need to have the entrepreneur hat, sometimes you need to have the technician hat, sometimes you need to have all these different hats, it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah, it really can. I think one of the biggest challenges that I went through in my journey was that, well, it's a mindset thing too, which we covered. That was very much part of a fixed mindset where I felt like in order to save money, I needed to do it myself. And it could not be done the right way unless I was doing, because how many times have we heard that? Anyways, if you want anything to do, if you want it done right,
do it yourself. Yeah.
That is an old adage that we've been told since this big. And to be realistic, it's not accurate. If you want it done right, train someone to do it like you want them to do it. That's the right way.
Absolutely.
Right? And so once I had to change that mindset, then it's like, okay, now let's go back to that and let's see how we can scale up. But before that, it was more like, okay, well, it's not being done the right way. I got to take it over. I have to do it myself. Mm-hmm. If it's going to be done right, I got to do it the way I want it to be done. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening is, well, there's only so many hours in a day. And I unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, he was got to sleep, and so I had to time out and take sleep to do my day all over again. And it got old really quickly.
Yeah,
it really did. And that's where, we talk about this in our modules. I really hope you guys can join us for it. And we really go over some in-depth content that talks about how to overcome some of these obstacles that everyday entrepreneurs and seasoned business owners go through.
They go through.
Yeah, which are, the 4 seasons. Business owners have 4 seasons. Like
we're
in
spring, we're in fall, we're in winter.
Business has business owners, and the way our soul is, we have various seasons, and winter is burnout. The winter season where it's all cold, dark, gloomy, you're kind of sad, depressed, you don't want to go out, you're looking for the next cruise you're going to go on so you can actually get
out of town.
Yeah, get out of town and get some stuff.
Get out of Dodge.
We go through it as business owners, and that's burnout.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening to me is, because I wanted to put everything on myself, I just accelerated burnout, and that's why this book really
spoke to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we've just hit on the iceberg. You know what I mean? Like, there was more, I think, in our notes we wanted to go through, but we're trying to keep this within maybe your drive to work or in your drive time. So, I mean, Michael, wow. Right? Yeah. Such an amazing book where we really, truly dig into where entrepreneurs lose their control.
Yeah.
And next week we'll pick up kind of in the middle of this, because he really digs into the phases of business ownership, being infancy, adolescence, and maturity.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get into that today, but we're trying to keep it within a time frame, and that's okay, right? But there is so much to learn and understand and realize when you're in your infancy and your adolescent stage, and then when you realize you need help. You need someone to help you with your business, and you need someone to counterbalance what your natural state. Are you naturally a technician? Are you naturally a manager? Are you naturally an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
And when you find that counterpart, then your business has so much hope. And Michael walks you through this. We know this already, right?
I feel like it's giving you the keys to the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm at this moment of recording, I'm 41 years old, right? And just, I think anyone who can relate to me who's either early 40s or late 30s can go in and say, man, if I would have known what I know now then, right?
What would I have done different?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's going to tell you what it is that you need to know, And
he's telling you.
Or another where I find it's really cool.
It's so amazing. So for those of you who are wanting to start your own business, this book is amazing, right? It will set you up for success because it'll prepare you to set your business up to be an enterprise that can scale, whether that scaling takes 2 months or 2 years. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So
then I actually think for anyone who has their own business, whether you've had it for 3 years, 5 or 10, if you guys are reaching what I like to call stage 4, which is burnout, meaning that you've made a lot of money, you've lost a lot of money, you made it again, you thought you were reallocating it the correct way, only to get back down to stage 1 again, and now you're back at stage 2 or 3. You've done this roller coaster of going up and down.
I'm exhausted hearing you. I'm just saying, this is what business owners go through.
They really do.
They do.
They think they figured it out. They haven't. And spiral dynamics will say that every time you go around and repeat the same process, it's never exactly the same. There's always a little bit of difference. If you're looking for the way to actually change your mode of business, the way you're doing business, read the book. Join us on this journey because it will definitely help you out.
So thank you for joining us for this Books and Booze. Right? I don't have much to cheers you with unless, wait, is there a magical entity that's coming through?
Yes.
Is there?
It is.
I'm waiting.
It's coming.
Off to
it's Phoebe.
Look at that! This magical thing.
It came to me.
We're refreshing your Sazeracs for Mardi Gras, for Carnival season.
Where's my story?
No, I asked before. That's where I got it from. Not a new Sazerac. So, y'all, thank you for joining us. Like, holy cow, what a transformative book. Okay, so grab a good book.
Get some awesome booze.
Awesome booze, right? Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
I'd grab an amazing buddy
to share this
with. You are amazing. No, thank you.
Let's repeat that.
No,
get a good book.
Hashtag have another. Grab some good booze.
No, here's the book first. I'm the booze first.
Oh, no, you're the booze first. I said,
get a good booze. Grab good booze.
And grab a good buddy to enjoy it with. Cheers. All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. It'll be Mardi Gras weekend.
Bye.
Peace, y'all. Whoa! I can't peek with the iPod. That's embarrassing.